I'm so excited to be back. Can't wait to be out on court, and I hope to see you there.
Of course, we have to mention Alex Eala, the incredible fandom coming, across the globe, especially from the Filipino community. So
now we came here because she's also here, of course.
Lights, noise, thousands on their feet. The biggest arena in Stuttgart hadn't seen anything like it, and the name echoing through every corner of Hard Rock Stadium was Alex Eala. That was 12 months ago. A 140th ranked wildcard who arrived completely unannounced, dismantled Swiatek, Keys, and Ostapenko like the draw was personally written for her, and made an entire sport stop and stare. The crowd went wild. The Philippines went wilder. Then 2026 arrived, and this same tournament, this same stadium, this same court declared something about Eala that nobody in that fan base was prepared to hear.
19-year-old lefty Alex Eala from the Philippines could be the next big thing in pro tennis.
This is the goal.
My goal is to be able to integrate myself into the WTA circuit.
She came back seeded, respected, and expected to deliver. 3 matches, 3 completely different stories. Each one reveals something new about exactly where she stands in women's tennis right now. And the final chapter of her Stuttgart Open campaign? It will genuinely shock you. Not because of what happened, but because of why it happened and what it actually means for everything coming next. This channel exists for fans who want the real story, not the surface version. Subscribe right now before this one gets away from you. Because what unfolded behind the scenes of this Open campaign changes the entire narrative completely.
Perfect finish, really well constructed point again. Left Baptiste guessing which way the last ball was going.
Tournaments are such great experiences for me, especially playing in front of the best crowd ever. And I'm really happy to advance to the next round.
Let's start where the real pressure actually began. Not on match day, but the moment the 2026 draw was released. Eala came in as the 31st seed, world number 29, carrying 390 ranking points earned from last year's semi-final run that needed defending inside the same tournament. In the WTA's rolling 52-week ranking system, that distinction is everything. You don't just play to win, you play to protect what you already built. And that psychological weight sitting on a 20-year-old's shoulders inside the biggest tournament outside the Grand Slams, that context alone reframes everything you're about to hear. Her opening match was against Laura Siegemund, ranked 53rd. On paper, a manageable first hurdle for a seeded player with Eala's momentum heading into Stuttgart. Nobody predicted what actually happened on that court. 3 hours and 20 minutes, the longest match of Eala's entire career. Siegemund took the opening set in a tiebreak, jamming a serve into Eala's body at the most critical moment to steal it. Eala could have folded right there, plenty of players at her level would have. Instead, she regrouped, won the second set 6-3, then closed the third 6-3 with the kind of controlled aggression that has become her signature. It wasn't pretty, it was survival. But surviving that match revealed something important. Her mental architecture under pressure had genuinely evolved since 2025. What the broadcast didn't linger on was the physical toll that the 3-hour battle extracted. She had already played a round of 16 at Indian Wells just days before arriving in Miami.
She has more confidence and she goes for her shots without any doubt, I would say.
this was definitely one of the bigger Filipino turnouts. Also, New York was huge.
Her body was carrying accumulated fatigue that no seed or ranking number can protect against. Round 3 brought Magda Linette, a 34-year-old veteran ranked 50th, whom Eala had already beaten twice in 2026, once in Auckland and once in the draw earlier that very season. This felt like the moment Eala could exhale, reset, and find her rhythm again. She took the first set 6-3 with clean, aggressive tennis. Left-handed serves out wide consistently dragged Linette off the court, opening the line for winners that the Polish player simply had no answer for. Then the second set tightened. Linette's experience started showing. She pushed Eala deep into a tiebreak that could have gone either direction. Eala won it 7-2, but the margin felt closer than that scoreline suggested. She admitted afterwards that every match at this level demands total concentration from the first point to the last, with zero room to ease off mentally.
after that and watch her try to continue to progress, because I like her game. Obviously, she wants to get better than where she is now. She's got a lot of good hand-eye coordination and ability to take the ball early and redirect. But the fan stuff is always fun for me, because whenever you see players from smaller countries, the fans are so passionate when they get up to the top.
Back-to-back round of 16 appearances at the Miami Open, the first Filipina in history to achieve that. The Hard Rock Stadium grandstand crowd that had packed in to watch her, many traveling from Jacksonville, Tampa, and Orlando specifically for these matches, gave her a reception that would have rattled a less composed player in the best possible way. Then came Monday, then came Muchova. Karolina Muchova arrived at that round of 16 match carrying a 2026 record of 16-3. She had already won the Qatar Open in February, her second career singles title, all-court game, exceptional variety, a player who actively hunts rhythm disruption, which is precisely the weapon most dangerous against Eala's aggressive baseline style. The first game lasted 22 minutes total for that entire opening set. Muchova broke Eala immediately, and from that first game, the match never changed direction. 6 unforced errors from Eala in those opening exchanges handed Muchova control before the Filipina had even settled.
Superb. You have to say 10 out of 10 for a performance today. Whether Eala was restricted or not, we do not know. She had new strapping on her thigh today.
The Czech converted all 5 break points she earned across the entire match. 5 from 5. That is not a performance. That is a statement. Eala's first serve points won sat at 39%. Muchova won 80% of hers. On return, Muchova took 64% of Eala's first serve points, meaning even when Eala landed her serve, Muchova was attacking it with the kind of aggression that flipped the natural dynamic of every rally. 60 minutes, 52 points to 26 in Muchova's favor. The scoreboard read 6-0, 6-2. Here's the part that deserves a genuine, honest conversation rather than the usual hot take dismissal. Czech players have now beaten Eala 12 consecutive times. 12. That is not a coincidence. That is a pattern with tactical roots. Czech women's tennis has historically produced players with exceptional hand skills, heavy topspin variety, and the kind of off-pace ball striking that specifically disrupts players who thrive on absorbing pace and redirecting it. Eala's game is built on taking the ball early and using her opponent's power against them. Against players who remove that pace from the equation, who slice, vary, and construct points differently, her aggressive identity becomes a liability rather than a weapon. Muchova exploited that blueprint with surgical precision.
We're not concerned about anyone else right now. It's Alex Eala time. This is Alex Eala's moment. Our days, our dinners, our evenings are fixated on when she's playing. That's real tennis fandom right there. Love it.
This is so great for tennis in general.
Yeah.
I think having players like Alex out there, and she's so gracious to all her fans. She spends time with her fans, signs the autographs, takes the photos, and really just shows the Filipino community that it is all about the Philippines. And I still carry that flag with me no matter where I go across the world.
WTA analyst Danielle Collins noted during the tournament that Eala's ability to absorb pace is genuinely world-class. Former ATP world number 5 Jimmy Arias pointed directly at her serve as the area requiring the most urgent development. Specifically, the physical strength needed to generate power consistently at this level. Those assessments weren't polite commentary. They were a roadmap. The ranking consequences arrived swiftly. From world number 29 down to number 45 when the WTA updated the following Monday, a loss of 270 points in a single week. The clay season, Madrid, Rome, Roland Garros, now begins with Eala outside the top 30, potentially unseeded in draws where seeding determines everything about path difficulty in the early rounds. She will start her clay campaign at the uppers. Austria Ladies Linz Open in Austria from April 6th, a WTA 500 event, a surface that demands a completely different tactical toolkit than the hard courts, where she has built her entire identity. How she responds in Linz will tell the tennis world significantly more about her ceiling than anything that happened in Miami. But step back from the rankings slide, the Muchova loss, the Czech problem, and the clay season anxiety for just a moment, and look at the actual arc of what this 20-year-old has done in 12 months.
Another wonderful win for Alexandra Eala. Thank you, Jasmine, she says. Paolini gracious as ever in defeat. The former champion is out. Alexandra Eala.
March 2025, ranked 148th, nobody outside the Philippines had her name memorized, handed a wild card at Miami, and told to be grateful for the opportunity. She dismantled a 2017 French Open champion, an Australian Open champion, and a 5-time Grand Slam winner in consecutive matches inside the biggest arena in Miami before pushing the world number 4 to 3 sets in the semifinals. The crowd went wild every single night. An entire nation stayed awake through time zone-defying hours to watch it happen live. March 2026, seeded 31st, ranked inside the top 30, back at the same venue with expectations rather than wildcards, fighting through the longest match of her career in round 2 and still finding ways to advance. The declared reality of professional tennis, that defending success is a fundamentally different and harder challenge than chasing it, hit her directly this fortnight. She isn't broken, she isn't fading, she is experiencing exactly what every elite player experiences when the tour stops treating them as a surprise and starts treating them as a target. The question was never whether this moment would arrive. The question was always how she would handle it when it did. At 20 years old, with a clay season ahead and the full attention of the tennis world now permanently locked onto her, the answer to that question is still being written. That is the real story of Alex Eala's Miami Open campaign. Not the scoreline, not the ranking drop, but the specific gap between where she is and where this sport is telling her she needs to get to. If this kind of breakdown is what you came here for, the subscribe button is right there and it costs you nothing. Every video on this channel is built for fans who want the full picture, not just the highlights reel. Drop your take in the comments below. Do you think Eala finds her answer on clay? Or does this Czech problem follow her all the way to Roland Garros? The conversation starts right now.